There are growing questions this hour about dozens of records that appear to be missing from the Epstein files. Those records in question are FBI witness interviews, and 3 of the missing interviews are related to a woman who accused both Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump of sexually assaulting her decades ago.
Well, the president has waged war on Iran, providing a plethora of ever-changing reasons to justify why this article may have flown under your radar. An article by none other than Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal. The journal reported that the Justice Department have selected which Epstein-related files the public would see, while withholding others that reference none other than a certain man by the name of Donald Trump. According to the report, tens of thousands of documents remained offline while only a limited selection was released. And several FBI interview memos that included references to Trump were not part of the public disclosure. Seems odd, right?
I went to the DOJ file search room yesterday to look for these documents that are in the manifest document, and they should be in there, and they're not there. These documents relate to a survivor that has made serious allegations about the president. What's important now is that the DOJ explained to us why were those documents removed.
Hours after this story broke today, the Justice Department responded to questions of where these documents are, saying, as with all documents flagged by the public, the department is currently reviewing files within that category of production. Should any document be found to have been improperly tagged in the review process and is responsive to the act, meaning the law that forced them to publish all of this, the department will, of course, publish it consistent with that law.
They are not responding to the law, and at this point, I think it appears clearer and clearer every day that they are knowingly violating and willfully violating the law that we passed, that Donald Trump signed into law.
Now, the political significance isn't just the documents themselves. It's who broke the story. The Wall Street Journal, part of Rupert Murdoch's media empire, the same media manipulation network that includes Fox News, often serving as a sympathetic platform for Donald Trump. But even Fox News, as of late, can be found airing his disaster polling numbers.
It is a full-scale war, and it's bringing with it serious disruption. No surprise, there is high anxiety all around the world. Energy prices have gone straight up. Iranian drones have hit the US Embassy in Saudi Arabia. The State Department is telling Americans in more than a dozen countries, leave. Luxury hotels in the Gulf states have been hit. Qatar has stopped producing nat gas and the price has spiked. The cost of insuring oil tankers is going straight up. Voters, they're getting skittish. 59% disapprove.
The Wall Street Journal, they're the ones eager to redirect the focus back on the Epstein files and what should be a front page story across every platform. Because the controversy centers on how the Epstein files were released, something that has been disastrous for this administration since they claimed that they were the most transparent administration in history. Remember the big binders? Well, it's been stop-start ever since. The Wall Street Journal's reporting indicates that more than 47,000 Epstein-related documents were left offline, and multiple FBI memos mentioning Trump by name were withheld from the release, which rightfully raises immediate questions, right?
Well, as my friend Joanne Carducci said, there's 3 people mentioned most in the Epstein files, and that's Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Donald Trump. One of them is in prison, one of them died in prison, and one of them is the president of the United States, but we're deposing Hillary Clinton. Like, it doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, the government has repeatedly lied about these files. They refuse to release the full files. Then they're hiding the documents, and now they're pointing allegations everywhere except at the president, who is in the files the very most. And this is a huge distraction to use Hillary Clinton, the vicious, evil Hillary Clinton, as a distraction from what they've actually done.
How many times have we heard this administration say that these files have exonerated Trump and there's nothing to hide? Well, it doesn't seem to be the case, does it? Why were documents selectively withheld? And why were the ones referencing the president among those that never reached the public database? I mean, those questions matter not only politically, right, but institutionally, especially as the House Oversight Committee is out here posturing as these beacons of justice, bringing in the Clintons and set to subpoena countless other notable figures mentioned in the files. But they're just bypassing the president or the first lady.
The Epstein files, potentially. I do think in this case, as my colleague Annie Carney says, this isn't Hillary Clinton's first rodeo. She kind of ate Republicans for lunch during the Benghazi hearings, so I don't think this will go very well for them. I think it will be different for Bill Clinton.
Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee. He appears in the Epstein files next to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell almost more than anybody else. So it's time for the president to answer questions about why files are missing from the DOJ.
And what is notable here is that the Wall Street Journal's reporting fits into a broader pattern that has frustrated investigators, lawmakers, and the American public. The Justice Department has acknowledged that millions of Epstein-related documents remain under review. But at the same time, reports like this indicate that some documents containing allegations invoking Trump were deliberately removed from publicly accessible databases. And only now, after further scrutiny and the threat of subpoenaing Pam Bondi, are we told that these documents might then be released.
And I want to be clear, just to clarify two things that I think you alluded to. One, Donald Trump is accused of sexually assaulting a child in those memos that you mentioned. Two, that it's not just a few dozen documents that are not being turned over. Fully half of the documents that we're aware of, some 3 million documents, have not been turned over by the DOJ. They claim they fully responded, and yet we've found over and over again, and I can tell you that Oversight Democratic staff have confirmed what you have found, that these documents are missing. They were not turned over, even though they were very clearly responsive to the questions that we asked. And this appears to be part of a very broad cover-up. And you may remember back to last May, when Pam Bondi reportedly told Donald Trump he was in the Epstein files. After that, there were a lot of reports that DOJ attorneys were being asked to go redact documents, to hide documents, to remove documents from the files that had Donald Trump's name. So we're definitely continuing to look at this, but it appears that the DOJ is willfully violating the law.
It creates a troubling perception, right? Not that documents are still being processed, but that decisions are being made behind the scenes as to what the public sees and what they don't. And not to mention who is questioned and who's not, as MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out. If their focus is to bring in people based on their ties to Epstein and the wives of those with alleged ties to Epstein, why is Melania Trump exempt?
There is exactly one first lady in history who met sex trafficker and raper of children and good friend of Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein. And today, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee decided to question a former first lady who never met Jeffrey Epstein instead of the first lady currently occupying the White House. Where is their subpoena for Melania Trump? The Epstein files